Hello, friends. Welcome back to the second edition of Jolly with Jai. So, hopefully, I can call it a musical stand up comedy. So, before I go into the program as such, let me kind of explain like what I'm trying to do and all that. I'm just trying to explore stand up comedy as an option of expression, right? There are several ways of an artist who try to express himself. For example, we used to those days write poetry, kavidai. Uh, so we express what we feel and a lot of things through poetry. Then it became prose. Then people start writing, say, novels, and they express a lot of things in their stories through the stories, long novels, or people like Shakespeare write plays. You can write a complete play, do a lot of homework, historical novels like Ponniyin Selvan, and then later on novels like, say, Rajesh Kumar or whatever. And in English, of course, you all know so many genres of novels, Michael Crichton or something like Milton Boons, and I don't know what the females read. Those kind of. So there are a lot of medium for expression, and then people do movies to express themselves, right? They have some ideas and they put it all together and bring it out as a movie. Uh, so also with music, you know, music is something that sustains people, and then they want to express it. And so also with dance, people just want to dance, shake your body, and you know, of course. So there are a lot of ways of an artist to try to, of course, painting, things like painting, uh, creating. Apart from this, even engineers or even if you have some surgeons, they feel it's like a opera. I have a friend who said doing a surgery is like playing an opera. You perform for a live audience, within the theater, operation theater. That a lot of forms of art, uh, for that matter, even medicine is an art, right? Practicing medicine, how to talk to the patient, everything is an art, right? Art form. So in that, I'm trying to explore the stand-up comedy, which is very popular in the last decade. It has become quite popular and quite, so I'm just looking into this option of expressing myself, right? Okay. So that's about. And when I was going into, I was talking about Alex's experience last time, um, what I watched and all that. There are some other stand-up comedy versions also. For example, I was watching something called somebody called Abhishek Kumar doing a stand-up comedy. It's a very young guy, and you know, and he's in the stand. I think Tamilians in Bangalore attend that, or I don't know what. And there are a lot of youngsters, millennials, I should say, who are doing it. They are millennials, and they're arranging dates on the show. They're asking random guys and girls to come on stage, and they make them talk to each other, and they're asking, "Do you want to go on a date?" This is something like that. I don't know, this where our culture is going, but I'm not anybody to judge. I'm just observing. the various changes that's happening over a period of lifetime, you know. Uh, so depending on the generation from which you come, your stand-up comedy may be different. That's what I'm trying to say. So for Abhishek Kumar, that is stand-up comedy. Or for somebody for Alex, like Alex is one myself maybe of the same age, like say 49, 50 and all that. So our generation would be different, and we would be on a different plane or wavelength. And I think I'm more like the Alex kind, where I can talk about music or movies and those kind of stuff. Apart from, of course, my own medicine, psychiatry, psychology, philosophy, etc., uh, etc., etc., etc. And when I look at stand-up comedy as an art, how it is done in say West in some parts, you just say it as a kind of a collection of jokes. No, it's a thin line connecting the jokes, but they prepared the jokes, and it's just a set of jokes. They keep telling joke after joke after joke after joke. For some, in some stand-up comedies, there is a personal connect. Usually, there's a personal connect. Usually a person talks about his life, what happened to them, but with jokes. And I've seen stand-up comedies who just do a set of jokes. It's not necessarily personal. They just randomly collect jokes and then they deliver it on the stage. I don't know, there are different styles of doing. And I saw a stand-up comedy called Family Man. Family Man, he just explains his experiences as a family man, as a father, as a family, as he goes out, or as he tries to manage his budget. What are the various experiences in a very comical way? In Tamil, comic Family Man is mostly in Tamil. So there are several ways of doing it. There is no one way of doing it. What I'm trying to say is, and each person has a different way of doing it, and there is no right and wrong way. Um, as long as it engages the audience, as long as you have somebody to watch it and appreciate it, it's good. You know, the more people are able to touch, it's better. But some people serve to niche crowds. For example, say Abhisheki Kumari serves to those teen guys, you know, their own dating community or whatever. I don't know, but 20s. Or people like Alex who stand for a very big, vast family audience like India or Tamilians. Tamilians, mostly it's Tamilians, right? Or who have some knowledge about interest in music and comedy, you know. So there's no one way to do it, and there are several ways and several idea ways to do that. Uh, but today I'll continue my style in the way I did my past two past one. Uh, but I thought I can maybe tell one or two jokes from a joke book before I go into my show, because I'm not telling a lot of jokes. Whatever I introspect. After saying it's a comedy show, I am not saying much of jokes as such. I'm more going into philosophy and funda, and that's how it's going to be today also. But to dilute it a bit, a little bit, one or two jokes, and then there was a farmer, right? And he sees a boy stealing mangoes, and he's asking, "Hey, are you stealing mangoes from my tree?" And the boy said, "No, sir, one fell down, and I'm trying to put it back." I found it funny. I don't know whether you find it funny. Okay, this is about a psychiatrist. There were two psychiatrists at a dinner bash. They were talking about their cases, and one psychiatrist said, "One of my patients has split personality." Oh, the other guy said, That's not very uncommon. It's quite common." No, but this guy said, No, this is special. The split personality, both the guys pay me. You know, so like that, there are a lot of jokes which you can deliver in a stand-up comedy. Maybe I'll try to say one or two. But my own favorite thing is about philosophy and way of looking at life and all that. Quotations is another passion for me. I'll maybe tell any one random quotation before I go into my show. A problem well stated is a problem half solved, says Charles F. Kettering. A problem well stated is a problem well solved. I think I well stated my problem now that I'm kind of exploring this uh, genre of stand-up comedy, my own personal way of expression, rather than way of expression, right? So today I'm going to talk. Of course, we have a song. So what song I'm going to sing and explore is this another. Initially, my first few shows are going to be all motivational songs. Maybe later on we can go into some romantic, some comedy, comical songs or whatever. Different genres are there in songs. Maybe some romantic songs, and if you want. I'm not a very romantic guy, uh, but I do like to explore this area of romance or love, and especially as a psychiatrist, it's very important that we understand how people love each other, how relationships work, how marriages work, uh, especially for today's generation. It's all about relationships, and so yeah, we'll go into all those genres later on. But right now, this particular song is ovvoru pookalume. So from Autograph, it's a very famous movie of Charan, maybe in the 2000s, 2003 or 4, I don't know. It redefined the concept of love, this movie, because previously most the love in any novel or epic or movie, it's like say ek duje ke liye. There's love, then the parents oppose it, and then once the love is failed, they kind of end up committing suicide. It's quite tragic. Ek duje ke liye, or Salim Anarkali, or Romeo Juliet. You know, so love is not has a lot of unhappy endings, and as an audience, I would say very frankly that many youngsters watching or many children watching, especially movies, they don't know what love is, and they think, okay, this is what love should be like from the movies. That is a bit dangerous thing, because when I say, as say 49, as Alex would say, 70s kids or whatever. Uh, So in our time, where there were movies like, say, Idayam, you know, Murali's, there is the one guy called Murali, who just keeps quiet and loves a girl within his heart. And final, at the end of 5 years of medical life, that girl comes to know about it, and then she kind of accepts it. And he never expresses it, and it's all in his mind, his fantasy. And or guys like, say, Mauna Viradam, Mauna Ragam, Karthik, very flamboyant, doing all the dramatic things, calling Mr. Chandramali and just interrupting, hey, can you come for a coffee? That kind of. So maybe our generation, we were thinking, so this was love's like either this end or that end. So we didn't know like what this love is. But over this period of when I was that age, youngster, teenager, but over a period of, say, with all my experience and all that, now looking retrospectively, I think the movie world shows a lot of unrealistic portrayals of love. But what love actually is, it's just like friendship. It's just like friendship. You become friends with somebody, you know somebody, and then it goes one step ahead, and then it becomes romantic, and then it gets very intense, personal. It also gets physical. It's a sexual component. Should not ignore that. And that's a more of a compatibility element. There's an attraction. It's like intimacy, passion, commitment, they say. In psychological terms, what is love? They say it's a combination of three things: intimacy, passion, not compassion, sorry. Intimacy, passion, and then commitment. These are the three things in love. And these all three things to be there for a complete love. These three components, you know. So in this movie Autograph, Sharon tells a story of his love stories rather, which is very unique in Tamil, or for that matter, any movie world. I think nobody has told this kind of a very realistic story. It's very realistic in that there is no cinematization, there is no romanticization. It's a very realistic. Uh, what would happen in real life? For example, this is a guy, Charan, in this movie, the hero. In the first scene, he starts distributing invitations, and then he goes to his own village, and then recollects his first love. Even in the school, he had a crush for his teacher. There's a Malliga teacher whom he has a crush. He briefly touches that point, but doesn't explore deep into that. But there was one classmate whom he was very friendly with, whom liked a lot. They were almost in love, but it was very immature kind of a love, and it terminated when the school ended. Like, say, at 10th standard, that girl stopped studying, and it then terminates, and he proceeds with his own life. He lost touch with that girl. Now he goes back and sees a girl, and now she has a lot of kids, and she's a housewife, and then he asks, why you have become like this, and then she says, no, I'm happy. This is what I'm. And then, so after this, then Charan in his life, after the school life, he continues his studies. He goes to Kerala for his higher studies. There is a second love. He didn't know that he could love again. So this is another realistic component of the movie that I like. That love doesn't happen once. Once a love breaks, there could be another love. The most epics of those days. If you look at it, it's like one love, one person, one love, and that's all. Then he develops one big beard, Devadas or whatever, and then that's all. His life is ended. He commits suicide or he lives a suicidal life, Devadas. So these kind of portrayals were there previously. Uh, no, it's a very realistic portrayal that uh, love keeps shifting. Once one love breaks up, one thing ends, then you can find another love at certain later point. It's possible. So here he again finds another love in Kerala. There's a classmate who's a Keralite, and they fall in love with each other. Latika, that's a character, and I think the heroine's name is Gopika. It's a very beautiful girl who was very craze. Uh, that song கூட இருக்கு. என்ன பாட்டு அது? மனசுக்குள் காதல் வந்துச்சா வந்துச்சா. So there's very a lot of good songs in the movie. Yeah. ஞாபகம் வருதே ஞாபகம் வருதே ஞாபகம் வருதே தானனனானா தானனனா லாலலலாலா ஞாபகம் வருது. That's one of my very favorite. Recollecting nostalgia of the childhood moments. Uh, Maybe I'll sing that song. I didn't prepare for that particular song, but even many of my poetry is like nostalgia. When I did a Kavyarangam, I did something like memories, old age childhood. Childhood memories is one of my favorite areas. So that's what is that Nyabagam Varade song. So later on, he goes to Latika, and Latika, he falls in love with that girl, Malayali girl, but caste different, religion different. So there's a lot of opposition from the family. They beat him black and blue, this guy, Charan, and when he's almost comatose and all that, they cheat her and marry her to somebody else. And they separate them. So he's totally disappointed. The family of Charan, his father is Rajesh. He brings the old guy Rajesh who acted in Tanir Tanir and all that. So this Rajesh, he takes him back to Coimbatore. And when Coimbatore is smoking a lot, he starts drinking, he's addicted. For 2 years, he's almost very depressed and is addicted and is wasting his life. And his father finally emotionally connects with his son and gives a talk that he's not happy that this is the way he's living and he has to change. And Charan kind of accepts the change happens within him. He also accepts, he develops that insight that he has to change. So he again moves to Chennai. He stops drinking, he stops smoking, and goes to Chennai and looking for a job. So he suffers from poverty for a while. He finds few friends who are also equally poor, and there's a little. For a while, they're struggling for food and other things, and then they find this Sneha. They start distributing pamphlets requesting for jobs and all that. Then where they meet Sneha in a bus, and Sneha offers them a job, takes them to her especially chair. She takes him to her boss and offers him a job in the advertising industry, and he becomes a guy in the she grooms him in the advertising industry. It's here again very a passionate portrayal of friendship between Sneha and Cheran. So here they again portray that uh, friendship is possible between a girl and a guy. The first time how Sneha and this Cheran meet is very nice. Like even before they start distributing the pamphlets, Charan has met her Sneha in a Charan goes to a musical show for orphan children, for blind children, blind people, and there she sings a song. That's where he first sees this girl. She sings the very famous song, the famous motivational song. So once he listens to the song, that's where the transformation happens. He wants to become something. He thinks in his life he can again start achieving all from the verge of suicidality and depression and all that. He now comes back after listening to her song. And what is that song? Of course, you all know the song. You're going to sing that. ஒவ்வொரு பூக்களுமே சொல்கிறதே வாழ்வென்றால் போராடும் போர்க்களமே. So, what each flower is telling us is that life is struggle. Just wondering how a flower is telling life is struggle. No, flower is a flower. Then thinking about it, of course, a flower doesn't come by its own. If a flower has to come, there has to be a seed. The seed has to sprout. The plant has to develop. Once the plant develops, there is a flower. And for some flowers, later on they become fruit and all that. So the stage of the flower shows it has struggled a lot to come to that stage. That's what I interpreted from those lines. Which means life itself is a struggle. Before the from the point the seed has to become a plant, then the plant has to grow. A lot of things can happen. The seed can die. The plant may be eaten by animals. So it has survived all the tough times. The plant has survived to deliver that flower. So life is all about struggle. It's about survival. I think it delivers a very strong point about life, especially for romantics at heart. We all think about what's the purpose of life and all that. Some people think the purpose of life is love, and there are people who think the purpose of life is happiness. I have to be happy. And some people think it's enjoyment. I just have to be jolly, eat, drink, and smoke or whatever, do drugs, do whatever you like. That kind of hedonistic lifestyle. But here, so what is the purpose of life? We all think a lot, right? That's called existential psychology. Even there's a book called A Meaning of Life by Viktor Frankl. I recommend you to go and read the book. So what is the meaning of life? Here in this song, in this line, if you look at it, the meaning of life is survival. It's not happiness, it's not love, it's not anything. It's not even about expression. It's about survival. Can you live for one more second? Can you live for a few more seconds? Can you live for one more day? Can you live for one more decade? A few more decades. That's all life is, right? So can you live? Can you sustain the life? That is the point this line is delivering. And the second line, ஒவ்வொரு பூக்களுமே சொல்கிறதே வாழ்வென்றால் போராடும் போர்க்களமே, ஒவ்வொரு விடியலுமே சொல்கிறதே இரவானால் பகலொன்று வந்திடுமே. When there is a night, there is also a day. I think this is what Bhagavad Gita and all that books say, that life happens in cycles. There is a day, there is a night. There is happiness, there is sadness. It's called duality of life. There is birth, there is death. There is marriage, there is divorce, right? There could be, not always. But birth and death, happiness, suffering, all these dualities, night, day. Like night and day. These things keep altering in your life, and these are phases of life, and you have to survive it. Like you enjoy your day, you have to enjoy your night. You have to at least survive the night. Like your good times, you are happy and you're enjoying. Your bad times, you have got to survive, right? So that's what this song is telling you. Now look at the next line. நம்பிக்கை என்பது வேண்டும் நம் வாழ்வில். We all need hope. Hope, we have to sustain that hope somehow. Do something, hold on to something. For some people, it's a religion, some people, it's family, for some people, it's their self belief. For some people, it's friends. Their friends mean a lot and they support some people a lot. For some, it's a community. The community is helping a lot. For example, say beggars in the world. They are supported by the whole world, by the community. In large, each person say gives 5 rupees, 10 rupees, and he collects all that money and then goes and eats something for him. And apparently there are a lot of rich people, there are crore-patis who are begging. That's beyond the point. But so people are trying to survive. Whatever is the difficulty, they are trying to survive. லட்சியம் நிச்சயம் வெல்லும் ஒரு நாளில். So whatever if you set a goal and if you work towards it consistently, you'll definitely win one day. I don't know which day. If you have a dream, if you have some kind of a goal, so goal setting. So this line talks about more of how to set goals. So that's very important thing in life. Like you set some goals for your life and you work towards it. You try to achieve it. You believe in it. Your dreams. மனமே ஓ மனமே நீ மாறிவிடு மலையோ அது பனியோ நீ மோதிவிடு. So the mind has to change. The mind has to change from what to what? From hopelessness to hope, from depression to energy, from from நம்பிக்கையின்மை அப்படிங்கிறது போயிட்டு நம்பிக்கை அப்படிங்கிறது வரணும் இல்லையா? ஸோ நம்பிக்கைன்றது நமக்கு எல்லாருக்கும் வரணும். மலையோ அது பனியோ நீ மோதி விடு. Even it's a mountain, you just break it. You go and fight with the mountain. You can climb the mountain or you can break the mountain. I don't know, there's a story called Mountain Man. This guy, the mountain man, was taking apparently a close, I think his daughter or his wife for pregnancy, for the child delivery. But so there is a mountain which is blocking in his village to go to the hospital. So he has to take 16 for a actual distance of 2 kilometers. He has to travel 16 kilometers around the mountain, and they don't have good. They go in bullock cart and those kind of transport. And by the time they reach the hospital, the wife is serious and the wife dies. Although the child is born well, the wife dies. His wife dies. It's a real story. His name is Mountain Man. Then he comes back, and the government is not doing anything about the mountain. He himself takes his weapons, and he breaks the mountain step by step, stone by stone. For 16 years, he did that work. He went on breaking the mountain, single-handedly, and he broke the mountain and created a path so that and reduced the distance to 2 kilometers from his village to the hospital. I think he was recognized and given a lot of awards and all that. So Even if it's a mountain, you can fight it. That's what the line says. So it's not just a fantasy. Why I'm telling you the story is these things can happen in real life also. உள்ளம் என்றும் எப்போதும் உடைந்து போகக்கூடாது, என்ன இந்த வாழ்க்கை என்ற எண்ணம் தோன்றக்கூடாது, எந்த மனித நெஞ்சுக்குள் காயம் இல்லை சொல்லுங்கள், காலப்போக்கில் காயம் எல்லாம் மறந்து போகும் மாயங்கள். So everybody has challenges, everybody goes through some pain, everybody has some injuries, mental injuries. உள்ளம் என்றும் எப்போ உடைந்து போகக்கூடாது. But you shouldn't stay in that. There could be setbacks, but don't feel crushed and don't stop doing things, and don't freeze. Get up, and again if you fall down, get up, and then again if you want to take treatment for your injuries, you take treatment and then proceed with the next phase of life, right? So don't get fatigued and don't get depressed or don't get vexed. என்ன இந்த வாழ்க்கை? Don't think like that. So the நம்பிக்கையின்மை உடைக்கணும். So that's part of life, is how to break this lack of faith, lack of hope. So mostly that's what happens. That has to be totally broken. இந்த மனித நெஞ்சுக்குள் காயமில்லை சொல்லுங்கள். Like everybody has some problem. So in that way you compare yourself with a neighbor, with a person on the road, with the next person. Everybody has some problem, everybody has an injuries, mental injuries, everybody has his own relationship issues, his own financial issues, his own personal issues, his own political issues, community issues or career issues. There's not a single person without problems. I think we touched that point last time also. That if the only people without a problem are lying in the graveyard, right? So, காலப்போக்கில் காயமெல்லாம் மறைந்து போகும் மாயங்கள். So everything will disappear. At one point it will disappear. All your problems. You won't even be thinking about it. It will be like a faint memory. Say for example, a teenager going through love failure or a youngster, after say 5-10 years he looks back and it's like a joke. That time it was something very big. Now it's more like a comical, or it's more like a, I don't know, it's not so serious. The intensity has come down at least. உளித்தாங்கும் கற்கள் தானே மண் மீது சிலையாகும், வலி தாங்கும் உள்ளம் தானே நிலையான சுகம் காணும், யாருக்கில்லை போராட்டம், கண்ணில் என்ன நீரோட்டம், ஒரு கனவு கண்டால் அது தினம் முயன்றால் ஒரு நாளில் நிஜமாகும், மனமே ஓ மனமே நீ மாறிவிடு, மலையோ அது பனியோ நீ மோதிவிடு, ஒவ்வொரு பூக்களுமே சொல்கிறதே வாழ்வென்றால் போராடும் போர்க்களமே. ஸோ யாருக்கில்லை போராட்டம்? எவ்ரிபடி. அண்ட் உளி தாங்கும் கற்கள் தானே மண் மீது சிலையாகும். If you take the statue, somebody who's making a statue, the stone has to bear that hit of the sculptor. As it sustains the pain of being hit by the sculptor, it will become a very beautiful. They say the human being himself, his life is like a statue. ஒரு மனுஷனும் தன்னையே வடித்து சிலையாக வடித்து கொண்டிருக்கிறான். ஸோ அவன் அந்த வலியை தாங்கிக்கணும். அந்த உளி எப்படி அடிக்கும்போது வலிக்கிறதோ, நம்ம லைஃப்பில் ஸ்ட்ரகிள் பண்ணும்போது, லைஃப்பில் நம்ம போராட்டங்கள் சந்திக்கும் பொழுது நமக்கும் வலிக்கும். அந்த வழிகளை தாங்கும் போது தான் அந்த சிலை உருவாகுது. அப்படி தான் நம்ம லைஃபுமே உருவாகுது, ரைட்? ஸோ ஒரு கனவு கண்டால் அதை தினம் முயன்றால் ஒரு நாளில் நிஜமாகும். யூ ஷுட் ஹாவ் அ ட்ரீம் and work towards it daily. One day it will become a reality. Like I talked about the mountain man. He had a dream. He thought of breaking the mountain. He worked for 16 years, day after day after day. He broke the mountain single-handedly, without any help. So it's possible that our own dreams we can achieve. Have a clear-cut dream, have a clear-cut goal, and work towards it consistently. One day it will become a reality. So that is the hope this song is giving you guys, and I hope you know that it won the national award, and this song was written by one famous poet, Tamil poet called Vijay. So Vijay was very famous at that point of time, and he had written many songs. But this is, I think, this is the peak of his career. He got him national awards, and anybody thinking about motivational songs in Tamil from the movie world, definitely this is number one or number two. You know, this is right on top. This song. வாழ்க்கை கவிதை வாசிப்போம், வானமளவு யோசிப்போம், முயற்சி ஒன்றை மட்டும் மூச்சு போல சுவாசிப்போம். So life itself is like a poetry, you know. It's just read your, do your homework, read your thing. வானமளவு யோசிப்போம், think big. வானமளவு யோசிப்போம் means think big. That's, you know, think big is a big concept written. There is a guy called David Schwartz who wrote this book called Thinking Big. So that's what this line means. வானமளவு யோசிப்போம், முயற்சி என்ற ஒன்றை மட்டும் மூச்சு போல சுவாசிப்போம். So like you take breath daily, keep trying daily. So this is this Japanese concept of kaizen. They say kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese concept. It's can be remembered by the mnemonic CANI, CANI, constant and never-ending improvement. They say in Japanese corporate world, constant and never-ending improvement. That means daily you improve 1% on your skills, 1% on your whatever you're doing, and then that will give exponential increase in your performance and capacity. Just 1% daily. It's like a compound interest. Little bit you do, little bit you increase. There's something called the magic of compounding. When you do something daily and keep repeating it over a period of time, it's going to give a lot of results. That's the same in investing. That's how the compounding concept of comes in investing, right? Something you do consistently, you invest and you reap a lot of rewards at one point of time. லட்சம் கனவு கண்ணோடு, லட்சியங்கள் நெஞ்சோடு, உன்னை வெல்ல யாரும் இல்லை, உறுதியோடு போராடு. So we all have a lot of dreams. So there is nobody actually opposing us. It's only our own self which is opposing us. நம்ம தான் முயற்சி பண்ண மாட்டேங்கிறோம். மற்றபடி நமக்கு ரியல் எதிரிகள் அப்படின்லாம் பெருசாக ஒன்றும் இல்லை. ஒரு தனி மனிதனும் முயன்றால் முன்னேற முடியும். வாழ்க்கையில் எது வேணாலும் அச்சீவ் பண்ண முடியும். நிறைய பேர் ஒத்துக்க மாட்டாங்க. When I say, so this statement will not be accepted by many, say, socialists or capital or communists. They'll say the societal factors are much more important than individual factors. You cannot blame the individual for everything. The government or the community has to take care of the individual. Is what the theory proposed by socialists, social communists, or whatever ideology and all that. In stark contrast to that, this self-development psychology is more in tune with capitalistic society, where they say the United States is all about freedom. It's about the person who works hard can become big in life. It's a dream of promised by America. I think the same dream is promised by every country. Even India, that promises holds good. If you struggle hard and you work for it, you will reach a good point in life, right? மனிதா உன் மனதை கீறி விதை போடு மரமாகும். So you just look into your mind and put those seeds. If you put the seed will one day become a tree. So this analogy, the seed becoming a tree, is a very important analogy. Like that, your thoughts become actions, and your actions become a reality. You know, அவமானம் படுதோல்வி எல்லாமே உரமாகும். So when you're doing a lot of efforts, a lot of people make fun of you. They, they say இவனுக்கு ஒன்றும் வேலை கிடையாது, இதான் பண்ணிட்டு இருப்பான். So if when whatever you do, there will be 4 or 5 people who are criticizing you. You have to ignore it. You should in fact take it as a fertilizer. That's what this line says. Even Rajinikanth in a famous thing said, talked, there were 4 uh, frogs, tavalaigal, which are trying to go outside a particular mountain or whatever, and people are shouting, come on, come on, you can't do it, get down and all that, don't do it, don't. So 3 of the frogs fell down because people are booing and shouting and all that. They're saying, no, 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 you can't do it and all that. But one frog went successfully up, and Rajinikanth says, and that frog says, அதுக்கு காது கேட்காது. Why it won? Because அதுக்கு காது கேட்காது. And he said, ரஜினிகாந்துக்கு காது கேட்காது. So what it means, you should not listen to the negative criticism of people. Don't get bogged down by it. Keep doing what you're doing, what you like to do, and you will achieve your goals ultimately. தோல்வியின்றி வரலாறா, துக்கம் என்ன என் தோழா, ஒரு முடிவிருந்தால் அதில் தெளிவிருந்தால் அந்த வானம் வசமாகும். There's no success without defeat. Before a person achieves success, he has to go through a series of defeats. They say Einstein found 9,999 times filament, a metal for the filament, and he failed 9,999 times before he reached the 10,000th time he succeeded and found the filament. I don't know if it's real or not, but this is how the anecdotes go. So it's obvious that you have to go through a set of sequence of failures before you will achieve any success. So you shouldn't be bogged down by any failures. Failures are temporary. And success also may be temporary. You succeed, then you fail, you succeed, fail. Like I said, day, night. Happiness, suffering, profit, gain, loss, profit, loss. So all these things are part of life. Success, failure is also part of life. But you have to keep trying. That's your work. Because any batsman, any cricketer, any actor, any director, any movie or any artist, any novelist, apparently, Ramakrishnan says, I'm writing books, I don't know who is reading it, I don't know whether somebody is reading it, but I keep writing. So the results are That's what they say in Bhagavad Gita. No? Do your duty, don't expect the result. So don't do it for the result, just do it because you want to do it. So ஒரு முடிவிருந்தால் அதில் தெளிவிருந்தால் வானம் வசமாகும். So you have to have something to do, some goal, and if be clear about it, தெளிவிருந்தால் வானம் வசமாகும். Even you can take control of the skies. You know, that's how the Wright brothers took control of the skies, right? Human beings thought they cannot fly, and the Wright brothers showed that we can fly. They invented the first flight, and that is history. And after that, they designed, they dreamt about it. If you look at the life of Wright brothers, it's a beautiful inspirational story how they fought the odds and brought the first flight, and then the flying industry slowly it became an industry. Now we can fly from anywhere to anywhere, and of course the flight industry has its own problems. You know, the indigo issue and all that. Like it all goes through ups and downs, and they say there's no profit in flight industry and all that. But still, flights serve a big purpose for a human being. I can go to Australia, US, even Trichy or Delhi or whatever through a flight, you know. And all these are dreams. 100 years back, 200 years back, nobody would have thought that these are things are possible. And today it's possible. Your artificial intelligence is possible. Nobody would have thought of artificial intelligence. It was just a concept. Today it's a reality. School students are using it to write essays and whatnot, poetry and stories. So a lot of things are possible. But you know, so நம்பிக்கை என்பது வேண்டும் நம் வாழ்வில் லட்சியம் நிச்சயம் வெல்லும் ஒரு நாளில் மனமே ஓ மனமே நீ மாறிவிடு பனியோ அது மலையோ நீ மோதிவிடு. So that we covered the lyrics of this song. So what happens after listening to this song? He goes into the movie that advertising industry, and he creates lots of advertisements strongly supported by Sneha. The relationship of Sneha and Charan in the movie is very beautiful. They're just friends. Although ஒரு பொண்ணு ஒரு பையன் ஆனால் நண்பர்களாக இருக்க முடியும். So already some other movies also have touched this concept. No? தோழா தோழா தோள் போடு தோழா ஆணும் பெண்ணும். That's a song, right? சேர்ந்திருந்தா அது காதலாகுமா. So that is again shown in this. A boy and girl can be friends without any typical romantic element. You know, there's no in modern language, if you say you can be friends without benefits, right? You can be friends without benefits also. So that is very beautiful. There is no way, at no point of time Charan is say proposing or anything like that, and there is no point Sneha is also considering it as a romance. But they are so close friends. In fact, Sneha's mother deathbed, she in fact dies, and Sneha hides the fact, and 2 days goes with Charan to finish his shoot, and then comes back and does the cremation. It's a very touching scene in the movie. And finally he marries a girl, you know, I think some kind of an arranged marriage or through matrimony, and that's why they give the invitation to everyone. And finally he wants to give that invitation to Latika, and he goes to see Latika. Latika is now a widow, and he starts crying, and she's just lost into music, and she doesn't want any relationship, and she's living single. So he briefly considers whether he should cancel the marriage and remarry this Latika. But then Sneha advises against it. She says, life is like you have to keep moving forward. What is past is past. You can't undo everything. She asked the first girl, the Kamala you had in school, if there is a problem to her, are you going to bring her and keep her in your house? We can't solve everybody's problems. People have to solve their own problems, and you proceed with your life, what your plans. And you have already promised another person that you're going to marry that person. So don't spoil that girl's life. So he kind of accepts that and he proceeds with the movie, even shaves his face, and that's how it ends. Now that's a point that touched in the movie. That during the girl asks, there's a nice scene. The girl asks him, "Do you have any love failure? And why is that you have a beard even during the marriage?" And then he goes and shaves the beard. And today in modern marriages, I see all guys have a beard during the marriage. It's not anymore a sign of love failure. It's more of a fashion statement, especially I think because of Virat Kohli and other guys. This beard has become some kind of a fashion statement. Anyway, so that brings us to the end of today's Jolly with the Jai stand-up comedy. I'll meet you with possibly another song and another movie, few more occasions till I change my own style. If I want to change my style, I'll let you know. I'll go into maybe try some other styles also of stand-up comedy, but a few more. I'll continue this style of one song, one movie, and some funda of life, maybe small little bit of comedy. Although I call it stand-up comedy, don't expect too many jokes here. Thanks a lot for watching, and share about this